everyone, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new SuperTest preview of the live server, because thanks to some viewers which submitted or poked me on my Discord, feel free to do that if you find any new SuperTest tanks, I've got to know that hey, there are two new tanks now driving around, one of which being the tier 9 American heavy tank H3 and the other one being the tier 10 Chinese heavy tank BZT-70, aka the tier 11 tank on Leicester's server, and on our server it is tier 10. But I would say let's start off with the H3, and personally speaking I would say when we just look at this little shot, let's start off with the armor. Now, the armor on this thing is very, let's put it that way, lackluster. Look, 63mm of side armor. That is okay enough to sometimes side scrape, but as you could see before, it doesn't matter when there is like a 183, you only have 20mm of track armor, plus or times 3 because of the HE rule. It means you have 60 times 60, so we'll have 180mm of armor here, and you can see that Wargaming actually put in effort to model the tracks how they are supposed to be. And side scraping you can't even do because you have a little turret ring right here. Frontally speaking, I can already tell you guys, just don't shoot at the gun mantlet. The gun mantlet, this one is the thick part. The turret itself is very weak. It's very, very weak, and you have a massive cupola. You also have, not the best hull armor, but you can draw some people by angling it, as you can see. But then you need to watch out that, this is not getting shown. So what you probably will need to do with this vehicle is try to bait people to shoot that to your lower plate, because they're thinking, oh, lower plate weak spot, let's shoot it, and then you can clip them. We get to that in just a second. This is, by the way, with 240mm of armor. That's a penetration, that's not a lot. So yeah, it has 7 degrees of gun depression, so obviously it needs to play hull down. And yeah, if it plays hull down, you can see the armor starts to hold up until the enemy loads premium rounds, and then it's all over. I don't know, Chief. I don't know. The armor on this thing feels very weak, because this thing is supposed to be a support heavy, and it has a 5-shot autoloader, but it is the Italian tank destroyer type of autoloader. So you have 26 seconds reload and 5 shots, giving you a burst of 20,000, not 22,000, just 2,000, and you have 24 seconds to clip, because your interclip reload is 6 seconds. So I'm just kind of thinking, how do you really use that thing then? Because at least if the Italian tank destroyers, you do have frontal armor, especially on the turrets. With this one you don't. So what do you use? Yes, the DPM is not too bad. Here I'm comparing it to the 752, which you right now can get with a discount, but I don't like the 752, but it's whatever. The thing is, look at it. It does have good accuracy. 0.42, it has decent aim time, it has okayish gun handling, especially compared to the 752. But I feel like getting use of this damage, that is hard. Look at it that way. The 752 is able to clip or do 1,200 damage if you round it up in 6.4 seconds. You can do in 6 seconds 800 damage. You can already see how the 752 technically in that regard is far stronger than the H3. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, because sometimes you don't know if it's reloading or not. But if you know it's reloading, you can push it, but I will probably usually always think that it has the 6-second reload, but it doesn't have good armor, so there is that. It has pretty decent mobility, 46 kph, there's a really good amount of horsepower, and with the armor in the front being somewhat okay, I would say this thing might be a pretty decent rammer, because it's also like 62 tons heavy. That's a chunky boy. But overall, 7 degrees of gun depression, that feels depressing. Or rather not depressing, because you don't have any gun depression, you know? Hit points is also fairly low with 1700, and view range okay. With the big cupola, I kind of would have wished for more. But yeah, that is the H3. So let's move quickly over to the BZT-70 yet again. And again, this thing does exist on Leicester as a tier 11 vehicle. And how should we say it? There it has APFSDS. On EU, on the other hand, it does not. On EU, the tank has an 180 millimeters. There we go. Gun. On the SuperTest, where it was released, as far as I remember, it did had a 2-shot auto reloader HE bonk gun. They removed that, thank goodness, because A, it looked atrocious to play because like you had no accuracy, and B, it looked insanely toxic because, you know, bonk bonk and you lose loads of your hit points when you're against it, and if it pens you, it can one-shot you, or two-shot you rather, two-clip you. So yeah, now it has an 850 alpha gun, which is the highest alpha you can have on a tier 10 heavy at the moment, even surpassing the recently announced Polish heavy tank. And yeah, it has decent penetration. It has the HE with 1200 pen. You can see the DPM is actually not too bad. Did I forget? Oh, I forgot to remove this. It's on the same level as the BZ-75. But I guess the BZ-75 is known to not be that good in randoms. But yeah, the gun handling, that's the problem. 3.16 aim time, 0.4 free accuracy. Let's don't talk about these stats because, oh my god, they're atrocious. But you have a very good module damage. Like, that is very, very, very good. And as you can see, as far as I'm aware, module damage does have RNG as well, meaning that if you are lucky, you can one-hit an enemy BZT-70 full HP. And if you are not unlucky, you just need to aim properly, you can one-hit the BZ-75 very reliably. So that is the interesting part about it. So let's move over to the armor, because the armor, that one looks very strong in the front, but again, this thing is chubby, you know. This one, 270 millimeters, so with premium rounds you can shoot through. Let's have a quick look. Yes, you can. But other than that, the lower plate is pretty massive and you can penetrate it easily. You can't really angle it either, because if you start doing that, you expose your lower side and you expose this thing. By the way, how is this just 15 millimeters? Because once again, Wargaming actually did, how should I say, they did model the things somewhat decently. To be fair, it's kind of odd that Wargaming forgot about the spring arms when we see, this is not modeled basically. When we go into the live model, you can see this is not modeled. That means that it only has like 15 millimeters of armor over here, spaced armor from the tracks, which is odd. I think that should be part of the armor as well, because that way it can get easily penetrated by FV 215. Even at an angle, like for example something like this, it can get penetrated, which is super odd. I might need to poke Wargaming and ask them if this is intended or not. In any case, you have cupolas. These are the main weak spots of this vehicle, and even with gold ammunition you can see these don't really change, just the upper lower plate does. The main problem is for the BZT if you start to shoot from above, because it has here like the same weak spot the Object 268 version 4 has. So if you're a little bit above it and it's a little bit, it's tall, yes, but it's also not that tall. So yeah, you can penetrate through here. But other than that, I feel like the armor looks fairly good. Except for the cupola weak spots, but I feel like that's fine. I still would say like an E100 is completely going to obliterate that thing, because 320 millimeters of pen, that's just simply not enough anymore. The E100 is such a powerhouse right now. It's still wild that Wargaming buffed it. But hey, look at that. It has 8 degrees of gun depression now. That is juicy. That is something I can get behind with. Apparently, this thing does not have rocket boosters, because you can see the BZ has the rocket booster icon over there, and we don't have it. And if you once again quickly look at the visual model, I don't see any poop rockets over here, so unlucky. You're stuck with 25 kph and 10 in reverse. Ew! And pretty bad HP per ton ratio. Makes sense, it's a super heavy tank. So yeah, other than that, what is else to say about this thing? Low amount of hit points, actually. Only 2,300 compared to 2,500 of the BZ. To be fair, the BZ does have massive weak spots, so it kind of has to trade with anybody, where they give him like 400, 450 damage and you give them 650. But that's about it. That's the BZT. So yeah, guys, if you fight it, cupola weak spots, easy peasy, long reload, and it has a big gun. But if you not use it, then it is what it is. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about these vehicles and if you encountered them and if this video helped you. Bye bye!